So you already have 100 or 200 LinkedIn connections. They're people you know, people you've interacted with, people who've invited you, and we're completely unrelated, and you're like, why are you inviting me? But your numbers are low, and you wanted to look trustworthy, so you said yes. But now what? And it can also feel like everybody already knows everybody. You're the only one that's left behind. And you know that LinkedIn is important in B2B, but you've only worked in small startups until now. Or you've worked in a completely different industry. Or you just haven't prioritized it yet because there is so much to prioritize. And it can just feel overwhelming, right? It can feel overwhelming. I know, I have been there, but the only thing that matters is what action you're going to take to change a situation that is no longer working for you. And today, we are on it. So tip number 1 for getting your first 500 LinkedIn connections is to commit to it. Now, I promise this is a practical video. Okay, what I mean by committing is to always be on the lookout for an opportunity to send somebody a LinkedIn invitation. Okay, so say you are at a conference or you're at a meetup and you meet somebody and you hit it off and send them a LinkedIn invitation. Okay, or if you have a prospect and you understand that the deal is not going to happen, but you would still like to explore working together down the line, send them a LinkedIn invitation. You can even ask, can I send you a LinkedIn invitation? Because I would love to stay in touch with you and see how we can help each other out or collaborate down the line. Number 2 is to make sure that you indeed have everybody that you know in your network. And if not, send them a LinkedIn invitation. Okay? And now I'm not talking about your friend is a biologist or your brother is a music technologist and you're marketing and contact center software. Although my brother is a music technologist, so if that interests you, there's a link to his channel in the description. What I'm talking about is anybody in your industry that you have talked to, you have emailed with, you have texted with, you have social mediaed with, but you haven't sent them a LinkedIn invitation. They know who you are, you know who they are, but you haven't sent them a LinkedIn invitation yet. Send them a LinkedIn invitation. Tip number 3 for getting your first 500 LinkedIn connections is to start reaching out to your second connections. Now, again, I am not talking about just randomly sending invitations to unrelated professionals in unrelated industries. I'm also not talking about blindly sending invitations to anybody that LinkedIn offers you to invite. No, what I'm talking about is looking strategically for potential connections that could be relevant for you, but that you could also be relevant for them, right? So let's say that you are a marketing manager at a company that sells CRM software, a company that sells CRM software, and you want to get more sales teams to become customers. So you start with the end in mind, right? Well, in that case, what you do is you go on LinkedIn and you search for people with titles that could be relevant. So it could be sales directors, it could be VPs of sales, account management executives that are in charge of entire regions, stuff like that. And what you do is you start sending invitations to relevant people with these titles that have the most mutual connections with you. Now, at the beginning, it might be that you only have 6 mutual connections with people, and that is all you're going to have, and that is okay. All right? Do not let that bother you, because yes, maybe not everybody is going to accept your invitation right at this level, but guess what? If you do not give up, you will gradually gain more mutual connections with second connections. And what that means is that it will signal to these people that you are a part of their world, and that will just make it easier on them to accept your invitation. So don't give up. Tip number 4 for growing your LinkedIn network to 500 connections is to think outside the box. And what I mean by that is to think just a little bit beyond your number 1 ideal customer. Now, I usually would not recommend you to do that in your content strategy, and even on LinkedIn, I think you might benefit from focusing the majority of your time on that one ideal persona. But since we are in B2B, and we know that on average, there are like 6 to 7 people involved in the buying decision process, and we also know that the title of our main contact at the prospect or customer of the company might be a little bit different depending on the size and type of the company. So for example, I'm a freelance B2B writer. That means that most of the time I obviously work with marketing professionals. But I've also worked with business development managers, with CEOs of small startups, and even with sales professionals. And even within marketing, I've worked with marketing managers, I've worked with VPs of marketing, and I've really worked with anybody in between depending on the situation. So when you are looking to grow your LinkedIn network, think about what other functions in your prospect's company could be relevant to their decision on whether or not to buy your product. And look for nearby titles to your ideal customer and send them an invitation too if you have mutual connections with them. Now, of course, do not send them an invitation with the intention to pitch them anything. Send them an invitation with the intention to open the door to building relationships. Tip number 5 for getting your first 500 LinkedIn connections is to keep putting yourself out there and keep building one-on-one relationships. So keep going to conferences, keep going to meetups, keep showing up on social media, keep asking people that you have met both online and offline to have a Skype call with you, to have a phone call with you, to meet with you outside the internet and have a cup of coffee so you guys can keep getting to know each other. Okay? And do that not only with potential customers or partners, do that also with other marketing professionals and even with vendors. Because what's going to happen gradually is that you are going to start introducing them to other people in your network, and they are going to start introducing you to other people in their network. Make sure you initiate, make sure you take the first step, make sure you do not wait for anybody else to build your network. And if you are looking to grow your LinkedIn network, definitely leave a comment, share a couple of sentences about who you are, who you're looking to connect with, who you're looking to network with, and you never know what's going to happen, right? And definitely check out the description box. I'm going to have a link to my profile. Feel free to send me an invitation. I would love to get to know you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.